So if you have any friends who have not come as yet, you can message them, but keep your mobiles off. Thank you. Okay, just stand. Just stand against the wall, okay? Just stand against the wall. Okay? Good evening, everyone. And we know that the feeling that something good is going to happen this weekend, it's all in the air. And I hope you're not disappointed. So keeping with our tradition, let's begin with lighting the lamp to invoke divine blessings from Lord Patanjali. Requesting Abhijata. What? Yeah. Okay, as you can see, there is a lot of color here, all still coming in. So make place. There are still some people coming in. So please make place for them. And then at some time, Raya, we'll have to tell them to go across the road, please. Raya. Sometime we'll have to stop and ask them. Okay, so it came to my mind that 50 years is a long time. And there have been people who've been coming here for ever so long. And you know, as grandparents, we see our children growing. And you know what's sad is that the older they get, they make us feel older. Like Dr. Marathe, he has been a part of this institution for almost 4 decades. Today, Megha, his granddaughter, attends the children's class. Now, Dr. Marathe, I know, stood here and gave a lecture. He's an orthopedic doctor, so he gave us a lecture on the skeletal muscular system. Today, Megha will stand here and lead the prayer. Okay? So the children are going to say the prayer and we say with them. So, stand near the mic. Okay, your voice will be heard. Okay? So first say, hold your palms to Namaskar. Say,
hold your palms to Namaskar. And now we will all say the prayer. Yogena chittasya padena vacha malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopaparotam pravaram muninam pratanjalim pranjaliranatosmi Agahu Purushakaram Shankha-Chakra-Sidharinam Sahasra-Shirasam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वहि साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि हरि ओम।
Wow. Last January, our institute, the Ramamani Iyengar Yoga Institute, stepped into its 50th year. I know that for some of them, they did not know this. Okay, so you weren't counting. But as you came in, did you not see the T-shirt which said 50th year? I'm sure that meant something to you. Did you buy a T-shirt? I didn't, because somebody gave me. What is your reason? Okay. Okay. From January last year, we have been conducting intensive courses at the Institute, almost 9 of them. Now, if you see behind you that there is a balcony. The balcony was made later on because this large hall wasn't large enough. And all the props have gone into that balcony. Now, when we come to the general class, most of us don't know what those props are about. But the intensive courses that were conducted here, they showed us marvelous ways in which these props can be used. Besides that, there were lectures, interactive sessions, and I have been in this institute for so long, and yet when they said that today's program is a tour of the institute, I was amazed. I thought I knew everything about the institute, but it was so interesting as we were led through various areas, the terrace upstairs, the library downstairs, and the mandir. And it was such a good tour that I couldn't believe that a small thing like that had remained unnoticed by us. So that was really good. Now, the 50th day is tomorrow. Today is the eve of that day. And we are so used to celebrating New Year's Eve more than the New Year itself. So that's what we are doing today. And 14th November is Children's Day. But at the Institute, today, the eve is usually the Children's Day. Okay? So we'll begin, as we always do, with a Ganesh vandana. I will ask Diksha to take the stage, and she will give you a few introductory lines.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I will now be reciting a beautiful Sanskrit stotram, Ganesha Pancharatnam, composed by Adi Shankaracharya. It runs in the meter called Panchachamaram. This gives an enchanting rhythm with alternating short and long sound forms. मोदकं सदा मुक्तिसाधकं कलाधरावतंसकं लोकरक्षकम् अनायकैकनायकं विलासिते भदैत्यकं नताशुभाशुनाशकं नमामि विनायकम् नतेतरातिभीकरं नवो भार्गभास्वरं नमत्सुरारि निर्जनं नताकापदुद्धरं सुरेश्वरं निधीश्वरं गजेश्वरं गणेश्वरं महेश्वरं तमाश्रये परात्परं निरन्तरम् समस्तलोकशङ्करं निरस्मदैत्यकुञ्जरं दरितरोदरं वरं वरे वक्त्रमक्षरं कृपाकरं क्षमाकरं मुदाकरं यशस्करं मनस्करं नमस्कृतां नमस्करोमि भास्वरम् अकिञ्चनातिमाचनं चिरन्तनोक्तिभाजनं पुरारिपूर्वनन्दनं सुरार्गर्वचर्वणं प्रपञ्चनाशभीषणं धनञ्जयादिभूषणं कपोलदानवारणं भजे प्राणवारणम् नितान्तकान्तदन्तकान्तिमन्तकान्तकात्मजम् अचिन्त्यरूपमन्तहीनमन्तराय कृन्तनं हृदन्तरे निरन्तरं वसन्तमेव योगिनां त्वमेकदन्तमेव तं विचिन्तयामि सन्ततम् ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः. Thank you.
And remove that.
Hello. So this was invocation to Lord Ganesha. Ganesha is such a special deity for our mindset that we would like to commence, and we always commence by invocation to him because he is so graceful, so bountiful, he is so sweet, and he is so magnanimous, resourceful, and therefore our missions can see the success or fulfillment. So therefore Ganesha is always invoked before any function, ritual, or any activity. And the verses that she recited, they were mentioning that the deity is almost a primordial deity and bestows grace, bestows all the resources which are required. Any barriers that might come in our way are set aside. So in our ethos, we don't have God-fearing nature. We are never told to be afraid of God. While some of the faiths say that one should be God-fearing. The God is not fearful at all. If the God is not fearful, where is the question of developing God-fearing nature? If you keep a rabbit in front of me, I won't be afraid. But if you bring a lion in front of me, crocodile in front of me, I will be afraid because that is frightful. So the divinity is not frightful entity. And the verses beautifully describe the form of Ganesha, nature of Ganesha, qualities of Ganesha, resources of Ganesha. And therefore in our ethos, the God is lovable and not fearful. So we should know as students of yoga, we need not be God-fearing, but we should be God-loving. And the description that came in those stanzas definitely had the appeal for Ganesha to be loved, Ganesha to be liked, Ganesha to be someone where we can fall love in with. And therefore, in our ethos, we have bhakti, which is loving the God. The God is lovable, and God should be loved and not be having any fear about him. So that these verses, you can Google and find out the meaning of these stanzas. They are absolutely appealing to one who chants it. Therefore, we chant it and we get enchanted by these stotras or these compositions. This was recited by, as you heard, Diksha, who is daughter of Srinit and Mugdha. So most of you know Srinit. It is his daughter. Okay. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Not fearing God is such a good message. Thank you. Our institution is filled with every age group. You know the happiness that we feel when we see a rainbow in the sky with all its colors. Then there are shapes and sizes. And today on stage, we bring you a large assortment of this wonderful blend of form. Our Mumbai team left home this morning. They braved the traffic and they landed here at 2:30 just to be with us and present you their, or rather put forward their presentation. So please give them a big hand. Rakhi and Namita. They're from Mumbai. They will talk to you.
लहानपण देगा देवा मुंगी साखरेचा रवा मुंगी साखरेचा रवा, which means I long for childhood in my old age, like an ant craves for a grain of sugar. Guruji retained the ebullience of a child, the attentiveness of a child, the curiosity and the instinct of a child, which we adults tend to lose in the sands of time, which is why Lahanpana Dega Deva. Namaste to all. It is indeed a blessing from Guruji that we have all gathered here today to celebrate 50 years of Ramamani Iyengar Memorial Yoga Institute. It is indeed a huge milestone for all of us. And on this special occasion, the children of Iyengar Yogashraya Mumbai are proudly presenting before this wonderful gathering a beautiful rendition of the story of Bhakt Prahlad.
We thank Vibhatai, Veju, Devki ma'am for collaborating with us on this at the behest of Prashanji and Abhijata ma'am to make the show possible. Also thank Priya Srinivasan for leading the Mumbai children in their presentation today. What you're about to witness is a show of the children, by the children, and for the child in each one of us.
So without further delay, let the show begin.
Keep it here. Okay, we are taking a little time because we work with a little disadvantage. We don't have wings, we don't have a regular stage. So we are working with that. So in the meantime, why don't you all just talk to each other, find out.
Hello. Your attention, please. As you just now heard a composition that a poet says the most fortunate phase in life is babyhood and childhood. And we people who are roasted and fried in the ways of world, we also sometimes feel we should have been childlike, and we start recalling our childhood, babyhood, childhood, which is the greatest period in human life. No sorrows, no tensions, no worries. And incidentally, we all are pursuing Iyengar Yoga. If you open out the factors, it is Younger Yoga.
He says, I, he went there and he's not coming.
And if you go younger and younger and younger and younger, you become a child. So you don't have to travel back in time machine or just be in dreamy world, fanciful world of imagination. You can indeed become younger and younger and younger and younger and you become a child. And you can avail of that innocence, stress-free, tension-free, anxiety-free life. The children and babies never have anxieties. And most of our thoughts are engulfed by anxieties. So yoga can take you towards into such a capsule where although you are what you are in your age, in your mind, psychic consciousness, you can be childlike. And that is why a younger yoga has a process to be going that way. Thank you. Hope they are ready.
Half lion, half man. In this yug, the world was united in the worship of Lord Narayana.
Born Prahlad to King Hiranyakashipu and Queen Kayadhu. Hiranyakashipu was the king of the Asura kingdom, which was opposed to the worship of Lord Vishnu. But his own son, Prahlad, was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu.
Level best to change Prahlad's ways and stop him from worshipping Vishnu. He even made several attempts on Prahlad's life. Prahlad was thrown off a cliff. He was trampled by wild elephants. He was put in a room of scorpions and snakes. And finally, his own aunt and Hiranyakashipu's sister Holika, who had a special boon of not being burned by fire, was called upon to hold Prahlad in a burning fire.
Yeah.
But what made Hiranyakashipu so fearless to go against Lord Narayana and attempt to kill an ardent devotee of the Lord? His arrogance came from a blessing of Lord Brahma, which made him immortal unless certain conditions were meant for his death. What were these conditions and what happens to little Prahlada? Finally, join us as we journey back to Satyayug to seek these answers.
शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पुत्रमकल्मषम् पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय
Does everyone not know that he is my brother Inaksh? How can I have anyone here to worship a deva who killed my brother? To avenge my brother, I went into deep tapas to call upon Lord Brahma. And while I was away from my kingdom, the devas committed atrocities on our people. Does everyone not know what harassment they put us through?
I was still in tapas. Lord Brahma got impressed with my penance and granted me a boon. I will not be killed.
Oh, peace. Indoors or outdoors? I no weapon. Animate or inanimate?
Of the earth or in the sky?
From all of us.
When King Hiranyakashipu was in tapas, the devas attacked us and took away our queen. She was rescued by sage Narada, who took her to his ashram and protected her.
That was a great Vishnu Bhakt. And in his ashram, Prahlad, who was still in his mother's womb, heard all about the greatness of Vishnu. And when he was born, he was already a great devotee of Lord Vishnu.
Out to Prahlad and tell him that he is wrong. Prahlad. Prahlad. His father.
Vishnu is the one that has taken so many avatars to protect this world. He is always there for those who need him, and he will always be there for those who need him.
Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya.
Hello?
देवासं पुष्पहासं नगरसन्निभासं शतादिव्यभासं रथाचक्रशस्त्रं रसपीतवस्त्रं रसच्चारुवक्त्रं भजेऽहं भजेऽहम्। श्रुतिभ्रातसारं जनान्तर्विहारं ददाभारहारं चिदानन्दरूपं मनोज्ञस्वरूपं वृतानेकरूपं भजेऽहं भजेऽहम्।
Chalo, take your mats and sit in your place. They pull the mats from there. Double mats hai, te kya? Good.
Saraswati होती.
Vibha, can you call for Ishan? Ishan is, we can't find it. Come on, Pune team, take your place. हे तू ह्याच्याकडे जातीये बैजू स्वप्नीलकडे जातीये ना हो स्वप्नील She'll show up. We don't want that big mic. We don't want. No, take it back. कुठे Sujata. Where is Sujata? इथे बसली अगं. This is Sujata's room. Okay, that was the changeover time that we needed. I hope you used it. Have your popcorn. Okay. Now, there are many amongst us who will remember summer holidays. What do we associate with summer holidays? Spending the time with grandparents. Those days which were filled with us playing, eating food made specially for us. And we were allowed to sleep late because there was no school the next morning. That used to be the high point of holiday. Then there were your siblings, your cousins, and you all got together and you had a lot of fun. Okay, so, or of course, you went camping. Now, our Pune team did that. They went camping with their azoba, their grandfather. And today, they're going to tell us what they heard because their grandfather told them the most incredible stories, stories that fill your thoughts with sages and demons about mountain tops and deep blue seas. We bring to you their story. Let's capture those moments with them and enjoy. But I'm warning you, I'm welcoming you to chaos, confusion, disorder, turmoil, and did I say confusion? That too, okay? So please laugh and clap and enjoy. Check your mics, everybody, check your mics. Check your mics.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Works.
Nine, it's
Okay. Let's do this.
hello. Hello. Sorry for the mic problem, everyone.
This is fun. Wish we could stay here one more night.
Well, we could. But tomorrow is Sunday and you have yoga class in the morning. We have to leave early to be back on time. Good sleep is important for all of us.
But Azoba, why? Just one day of the week, I don't want to wake up early.
All right. But isn't yoga class where you have all your friends and it's so much fun? Okay, tell me something. Do you all do Shirshasana in class?
Yes,
When you did it the first time, did you fall?
I did. I did not. Look.
Ayyo! Light on Yoga says that Shirshasana is incredibly beneficial. is an answer to most health issues. And as you all can see, it's fun for children as well.
Tell me, Azoba, who invented yoga? I know. It's our teacher Abhijata's tata, her grandfather. Everyone calls him Guruji.
Yes, you're not wrong to think so. Sit.
Guruji has given Yogdan to the science and art of yoga. He has designed so many props to help us understand asanas better.
Yoga Vidya comes to us from ancient times. Lord Shiva, who is known as Adi Yogi, is the first yogi who created yoga.
Should I tell you all something interesting? Have you seen that group of 7 shining stars in the sky? Look, here they are. They're called Ursa Major. Do you know what we call them?
Yes, they are the most powerful rishis.
Correct. Come, let's go to a place where we can see them clearly in the night sky. Come.
Take us also.
Come.
These rishis were born from the minds of Brahma. They are enlightened beings.
They understood the meaning of Brahma, the ultimate reality.
की गहराइयों में एक नदी से बह रहे हैं आदि योगी, शून्य सन्नाटे टपकते जा रहे हैं, मौन से सब कह रहे हैं आदि योगी, योग के इस स्पर्श से अब योग में करना है तन मन, सांस शाश्वत सनन सनन, प्राण गुंजन अनन गणन, उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी, योग धारा चलत छन छन, सांस शाश्वत सनन सनन, प्राण गुंजन अनन गणन, उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी। उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी सांस शाश्वत प्राण कुंदन आदि योगी ओम धारा तलब छन छन आस शाश्वत धन प्राण कुंदन उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी
Ah, so children, do you want to know the names of these Saptarishis? I could tell you their names, or I could tell you.
You could tell us a story. Story, please. Ajoba, story. Always a story.
Okay, story it is. You know, these are not just stories, they're sacred tales, myths that are relevant to us today as they were to the ancient people.
These legends teach us that to be good at something, you need a lot of perseverance.
Guruji said, Tapaha is sustained practice. Practice that is done with dedication and devotion.
To gain physical Shakti, we need tapaha.
What's tapas? I know. It's a yummy Spanish snack. I think I'm hungry.
Ishan, you're always hungry. Come here and sit. And the word is tapaha. It's a spiritual practice that involves a high degree of solitude, self-discipline, and periods of deep meditation.
Meditation. We know. Like this.
Well done. When the legs are still and the back erect and the eyes closed, it allows the mind to be attentive, alert, and silent. Samam kaya shirogrivam dharayan achalam sthiram.
Did you know? Tapaha means austerity. Tapaha, Swadhyaya, and Ishwar Pranidhan are essential attributes of Kriya Yoga.
Tapaha will dislodge vasana and our baggage of tendencies and will definitely help us achieve spiritual growth.
Just as light removes darkness, vasana, karma, klesh leave us when tapaha is done.
The whole science of character building may be regarded as a practice of tapa.
How does one do that? Did the rishis practice tapaha? Ajoba, will all this really happen by just going to class tomorrow morning?
I'll tell you. But first, come sit. Let me first tell you about some Sapta Rishis and their tapa. Let's begin with a Vedic sage, Rishi Atri. Atri wrote the fifth mandala of the Rig Veda. His sons and disciples are credited with the compilation of the Rig Veda.
Samahita is a collection of rule-based texts or verses.
Yes, the Atri Samhita suggests Tam, Dan, and Daya, which means self-restraint, charity, and compassion.
These are the yogic principles of life. When instructed by a divine voice to do so, sage Atri agreed readily.
Shh, come, let's go fast.
Lord Vishnu is the supreme Lord. His origins are unknown and Anantasan signifies the one
who's infinite. He took many avatars to restore cosmic order and dharma.
Brahma, who took birth from the Hiranyagarbha, is often seen in the image of Vishnu. Brahma Mudra calms the mind and releases all negative energy.
Lord Shiva, who is the destroyer of Adharma. The Nataraj dance is a powerful symbol depicting the Tandav Nitya. It symbolizes the eternal cycle of life, the creation, sustenance, and destruction.
Pleased with the penance of sage Atri, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva blessed him and offered him with boons.
Come, Ishan. Children, tell me something. Do you know about the Godavari River?
Yes, it is the second longest river after the Ganga. It has a source in Trimbakeshwar, Nashik. It flows and empties out in the Bay of Bengal.
Well done. And do you remember the story I told you about Rishi Gautam?
Yes, Rishi Gautam and his wife Ahilya lived in an ashram. They had no rains that year and their paddy fields gone dry. Rishi Gautam did great penance and prayed to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva blessed Rishi Gautam with the water now we know as River Gautami or Godavari. The source of the river Ganga is on Lord Shiva's head. And because the Godavari river came as a blessing from Lord Shiva, it is also known as Dakshin Ganga.
Well done, both of you.
On Thursday, we don't get water. My mother gets very upset. I think I should do some penance. That will help a lot better.
Come here, Ishan.
Enough penance now. Achuba, tell us, can we go to the water for a while?
Yes, we can. Let's go. You know, there are many stories about Matsyendra, Lord of the Fishes.
Really?
But I shall tell you one that my father told me. I love the sea, and this was my favorite story.
I love the sea too, Achuba.
Is that so?
Yes, it is.
Sir.
Idiot, he would have.
It's okay.
What is this?
Matsyendra was born under an inauspicious star, and his parents threw him into the ocean.
My parents keep sending me to so many classes. I want to be a fish. Then I could SWIM all day.
Matsyendra, I am the big fish. I am going to swallow you.
Big fish, please take me to the bottom of the ocean. I feel someone is there and I want to know who is it.
The ripples of water that you feel will soon turn to waves. They are being caused because Lord Shiva is imparting the knowledge of yoga to Parvati.
Let's go then, so I may hear and learn. I wish to be blessed with the teaching of yoga from Lord Shiva.
Matsyendra listened mesmerized. He practiced yoga inside the belly of the big fish for 12 years. Ardha Matsyendrasan is a milder version of the asana. Paripurna Matsyendrasan gives a mild maximum lateral twist.
The lateral twist of the spine helps to release backaches and hip pain. The neck becomes more powerful. It prevents enlarged prostate and bladder. He emerged thereafter as an enlightened Siddha. Lord Shiva renamed him Matsyendranath or Lord of the Fishes.
You know, I was just thinking, obviously, after listening to this story, when my mother was pregnant with me, if she and my father they discussed all my exam portion, I would not need to study so much.
Ugatats.
Oh my god, you and your stupid ideas. Please keep them to yourself.
Anyways, even if that were true, this is the funny part. Our parents studied in an SSC school and admitted us into an SSC.
Point.
How is that going to work?
Sorry, bad idea. Just a terrible bad idea.
God, that walk to the water was so long. Let me sit for a while. Okay, children. Now tell me something. Can you name an asan which begins with bha?
Easy. Bharatvajasan.
Well done. Most practitioners with elastic spinal movement can do this asan with ease. But for people with arthritic conditions, this asan is a blessing.
Rishi Bharadwaj was a renowned scholar and economist. In the history of Ayurveda, his name lies in the forefront. There was a time when poor health was disrupting the ability of humans from conducting themselves in day-to-day activities and further pursuing their spiritual journey.
Rishi Bharadwaj prayed to Lord Indra to bless him with the knowledge of Ayurveda that would allow man to achieve righteousness, ethical earning, and spiritual liberation.
Ajaba, do you know Bharatvajasan to cure your diabetes? Yes, he does. I sit on the steps and I have seen him practice the asana very often in Prashantji's classes. But how will that help? He does his asanas, takes his medicine, and then eats gulab jam
And rasmalai and jalebi
And Rabdi.
and rasgulla and cake.
You forgot about my favorite dessert, pedha. Okay, now forget all that. Did you know Rishi Bharadwaj taught his son Dronacharya Shastra Vidya?
Oh, so the rishis were not just spiritual and they knew about weapons too. Wow, that's cool, right? Ajaba, tell us another story before we go to the next Saptarishi.
Actually, the next story is about Saptarishi Vasishtha and about Kamadhenu.
I have read the story of Kamadhenu in Amar Chitra Katha. I have read the story too. Isn't Sage Vasishtha the one who had a magical cow called Kamadhenu? Kamadhenu! Oh yes! She could produce anything and fulfill your wishes.
So, when Sage Vasishtha, oh, I'm so sorry. When King Kaushik visited the ashram of Sage Vasishtha, Kamadhenu served up a delightful feast fit for the king and to feed his soldiers too. Come, let me tell you the story as we walk back.
King Kaushik was amazed to hear about Kamadhenu, who could feed the king and his army. But the king had another thought. Was it not the king's right to eat the tastiest food. So he asked sage Vashishta to give him Kamadhenu.
And sage Vashishta politely refused him.
This angered King Kaushik. He decided to take Kamadhenu by force. This resulted in a hard battle between the two.
You know, the breed of these divine cows is known as Kapil Gai. Ah, and also, there's another fun fact for you all. There's an asana by that name. Full points to anyone who guesses it.
Kapil Asan. No, silly. Not Kapil Asan. It's only Kapil Asan. Ah, so there's no guy in the Asan. I get it.
Sometimes, Ishan, you really astound me with your jokes. डायलॉग विसरलो वाटतं. आता काय करायचं? Never mind. Let's ask one of the yoga practitioners if they can show us Kapilasa. Does any one of you wish to volunteer? I can see this nice lady climbing already. Please come. Namaste. What's your name? Jyoti. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So let's begin with Kapilasan. Did you know before this you can also do Skandasan? And then Buddhasan? And then you can do Ekapada Shirshasan? Wow! And to finish it up, you can do Kala Bhairavasan? Ooh! Brilliant, brilliant. Lovely to meet you. बघा जरा शिका काहीतरी. So, now let me continue with the story of Vasishtha and Vishwamitra. They were both very powerful sages and they contributed greatly to Hindu mythology.
But that's not how the story began, right?
Correct?
Isn't sage Vishwamitra none other than King Kaushik, the one who had exceptional knowledge of war and weaponry?
Correct. And yet, sage Vashishta defeated him at battle every single time. He then went to the Himalayas to do penance for a long time.
When Lord Shiva appeared, King Kaushik asked him for the knowledge of Dhanurved, the art of warfare. He earned the knowledge of celestial weapons and then Lord Shiva booned him the Brahmastra.
Oh my God.
Cool.
nice.
Should we go and watch the battle?
Let's
Yes.
go.
Let's go,
Yes.
let's go.
Get off stage.
Shit.
Sorry.
Alo.
Sage Vasishtha brought forth his Brahmadanda, a wooden stick which contained the power of Brahma himself. This Brahmadanda diffused all of Vishwamitra's most powerful weapons, including his Brahmastra.
This defeat became a turning point in Vishwamitra's life. He realized that spiritual power would always be far greater than physical might.
He asked forgiveness of sage Vasishtha. He then did great tapah and became one of India's greatest sages.
Vasishthasan, just like sage Vasishtha, is about balance, core strength, and endurance.
Vishwamitrasan depicts the austerities of sage Vishwamitra. This asana increases your range of motion.
This story of sage Vasishtha and sage Vishwamitra teaches us that sometimes forgiveness is power.
Though forgiveness is often associated with the weak, it really takes a brave heart to forgive those who have not been the best to you.
Sage Vishwamitra composed the Gayatri mantra. Can we all say the mantra together?
Om Bhurbhuvaswaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्
I saw the children read up the story of Ashtavakra from your book, from your bag. From your bag?
I don't have a bag.
Does anyone in the audience have a bag? Then it's from your bag. I think they would like to enact it to us.
Well then, let's have that story from the Mahabharata. Come, let's see.
कराग्रे वसते लक्ष्मी करमध्ये सरस्वती करमूल्ये करमूल्ये. Is that my son laughing at me, his father?
He is not yet born, but he is wise.
I, Kagola, your father, punish you, son. You will be crooked in 8 places, and you will be known as Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra, 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 Ashtavakra.
But I shall learn the Vedas and know them.
You are a good student, Ashtavakra, but now you need to do something noble. In the court of Mithila, your father has been defeated in a debate by Vandi. You must defend him.
But let us now begin our argument.
Ashtavakra, my son, I am proud of you. You have avenged me. I seek your forgiveness, and I will restore you to your normal form.
Ashtavakra, why you late to yoga class? Never mind. Rajendra, Padmaja, Sushmita, take care of him. Ulti kar, ulti. Bas.
Ashtavakra, Saptavakra,
Sashtavakra, Panchavakra, Chaturvakra, Trivakra, Vivakra, Ekavakra, Shunyavakra.
Ashtavakrasan depicts the persistence, piety, and intelligence of sage Ashtavakra.
It celebrates the ability to triumph over any body ailment through yoga and tapa. Ashtavakra,
Wait,
put the props back. Arey, it's Shunyavakra now.
okay, Shunyavakra, please.
Put the props back.
अरे रोप रोप अरे रोप पण बघू दे ना रोप मॅट मॅट सरळ करून जा उचलू नको नो लेट
You know, this story of Ashtavakra reminds us that persistence, piety, and intelligence triumphed over the curse that Ashtavakra carried. Where's my grandson? Ishan? So tell me, what did you learn from this story? What's the moral?
I learned something. If your father is wrong, just tell your mother. She will handle things properly. Silly. That's what I learned.
Good, well done. I think we've not yet spoken about Sage Jamadagni.
Jamadagni was Vishwamitra's nephew. He was also a Saptarishi alongside his uncle.
Is there an asana named after Sage Jamadagni?
Chamad Agni. Fire. If there was an asan named after him, it would have been a typical fiery asan. Chamad Agni Asan.
Nahi re, there is no Jamad Agni Asan. But there is another Shishya, a student of Vishwamitra that we can talk about.
You know, when I see students come to a younger institute who have been coming for so
You mean
very
like Mr. Mahadevan?
Ah, yes. He and I, we have come to the institute together. It was so long ago. I think the year was 1977. Sometimes this makes me think that just like Galava, Mahadevan and I have pursued our yoga abhyasa with great determination for many years. What, Mahadevan? So, did any of you read about Galava from my book?
Yes, we did.
Can you do Galavasan then?
No.
No, but we can enact the story to you.
Okay, let's see.
Hey, give me the rope.
A rope. Are? What is this? Should have prepared yourself before, no man.
Hey, shut up.
Okay. Sage Galava got his name from Gala, which means neck. He was a devoted student of Sage Vishwamitra.
My mother has fallen on tough times and wants to sell me. I do not wish to be sold as a slave. I fall at your feet, Sage Vishwamitra.
It's okay. I am ready to take you to live in my ashram. You will learn that life is not without rigor, and you will study and work hard when you live in my ashram. After many years of learning under sage Vishwamitra felt it was time to release Galava from the ashram.
Galava, I am satisfied with your learning. You are now free to leave this Gurukul and spread your knowledge to the world. I shall always remain grateful to you. You are my Guru, and I wish to offer you my Guru Dakshina. My Shishya's sincerity is Guru Dakshina enough. I don't need anything else. How can that be enough? Please ask for something. I need nothing more. But I insist. Galava, do not anger me. Guru, please. If you are so insistent, bring to me 800 white horses with one black ear. I shall do as I am bid.
My mother tells me Galva spent a major part of his remaining life trying to fulfill this promise. If you see a white horse with a black ear, please help Galva. Look!
Galavasana mirrors the intensity of his life. What is remarkable about this asana is that it draws the advantages and effects of Padmasana, Paschimottanasana, and Shirsasana.
Gela, you missed him. Never mind. That was well done. Good knowledge you gave us all. Now tell me which one of you can do Galavasan. Show.
They did it 2 seconds ago.
Exactly. That was not Galavasan. It was Vatayanasan. Okay, you cannot do it. Never mind. Open your light on yoga books, turn to page number 325 and open plate 427 and 428. And then after that, you don't have the book.
No.
Never mind them. Now this is homework for all of you, okay? Don't forget. I did not expect you to forget. Never mind. It's okay. So what's next?
I think Kashmir.
Oh yes. Then what happened, Ishan?
I forgot to tell the moral of the story.
Go on then, tell it.
Moral of the story. If your teacher gives you the day off, chill. Do not pester her for more homework.
Good point, yeah. Good point. That boy, I don't know which one of you has been such an influence on him.
Oh, what are you talking about?
So now let's at last end this with our last Rishi, Rishi Kashyap. This story takes us to the northernmost part of Bharat, to beautiful Kashmir.
Wow. Years ago, the rich legacy of Kashmir was erased. The invaders came to this country and blocked up the truth for generations to come.
Should we go and see the story?
Let's.
Come on. The number of times I've done Uthak Baithak today.
Let's go.
Actually.
The Kashmir Valley was once a lake called Sati Sar, the lake of goddess Sati.
But the truth never dies. Kashmir's historical book Raj Tarangini describes the history of Kashmir from the time of its inception to 200 years. Jalodbhav, the demon, lived in the depths of Satisar and troubled the people living on the slopes of the mountains. Kashyap came to the help of the people and performed penance.
Lord Vishnu heard him. He came to his help and assumed the Varaha avatar. Varaha means boar and Mula means roots. Therefore, this mountain came to be known as Varaha Mula.
When Lord Vishnu struck the mountain, the hole that it made drayed away the waters of Lake Satisar. Jalodbhava, the demon, stood alone and helpless. Lord Vishnu destroyed the evil demon.
वराहरूपं दैववरीतं वराहरूपं दैववरीतं परस्मितवदनम् वज्रदन्तधर रक्षाकवचम्
Lord Vishnu then blessed Kashyap and said that he and his people could now peacefully live in this valley. This dwelling Satidesh came to be called Kashyamar, meaning abode of Kashyap, and Kashyapura, meaning city of Kashyap.
Over time, Varahamullah came to be known as Baramulla and Kashamar as Kashmir.
Along with its history, the golden heritage of Kashyap, the architecture, the Nritya, the Dharam Shastra and Yoga, all vanished. That was beautifully enacted. Well done, everyone.
Did you know Sage Kashyap, as you just heard, spent long hours doing penance? I think he chose to do an asana to relieve his back, and now we know that asana as Kashyapasana. I say that, and maybe it's true.
Like Janu Shirshasana?
And Ardha Baddha Paschimottanasana.
Tiranga Mukha.
Triyanga Mukha
Oh,
Paschimottanasana.
right. These all are forward bending asanas in which we work by gripping the leg with the hand.
Wow, 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 wow.
Wow, yaar.
Did you know Sage Kashyap was the son of Sage Marichi?
Oh.
Hmm.
So, in Marichasan, the hands do not hold the leg, but they are gripped around the leg. For this, the abdominal organs work really hard with increased blood circulation.
This is the first time you're doing yoga today. Well done, well done. So now we are nearing the end of our program. We began it with stories of tapaha, and so it's only fitting to end it with some teachings of the Bhagavad Gita as told by Lord Krishna. Come on, everyone, sit beside me. Aha, where's our Lord Krishna? Aha.
देवद्विज गुरुप्राज्ञा पूजनं शौचमार्जवम् ब्रह्मचर्यमहिंसा च शारीरं तप उच्यते. Shri Krishna classifies tapa into three categories of the body, mind, and speech. In this verse, he talks about the tapa of the body. अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यं सत्यं प्रियहितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यसनं चैव वाङ्मयं तप उच्यते. In this verse, Shri Krishna talks about the tapa of the speech, which includes speaking truthfully, kindly, and beneficially. मनः प्रसादः सौम्यत्वं मौनमात्मविनिग्रहः भावसंशुद्धिरित्येतत् तपोमानसमुच्यते. In this verse, Shri Krishna talks about the tapa of the mind, emphasizing on self-control, calmness, and purity of thoughts.
Ajoba, the stories were so real. It makes me feel that I actually saw all the rishis.
And I think that maybe you saw Lord Krishna too.
Yes, I think I did.
Hmm.
But Ajoba, all the stories are about the past. No one does such tapas today.
Don't you remember Tata, our Guruji? He was a true modern tapasvi. And now he has all his shishyas, his children, and his grandchildren all around the world who are spreading his legacy. Don't you forget that now, okay? Oh, I think we should head home now if we want to get back for dinner.
Yes, you do remember it's a Sunday class tomorrow morning. Come.
How could I forget?
Back.
Thank you everyone for coming. We had a great time performing in front of all of you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay to
He's
leave the
doing a
stage.
heart to say thank you.
Mike. Hello. कुठे चालू आहे? हा.
Very good, Bridge.
त्याच्यासाठी काहीतरी ठेवायला
हा ठीक आहे ठीक आहे.
Go sit anywhere.
खाली जाऊ दे.
मगर 4 वाजता हाँ देखिए मगर refreshment. Take your bags and go. Take your bags and go. You're not coming back upstairs. Take your. Take your bags and go. Take all this now. It's not yours, but take it now. Yeah, take this sword. Yeah, sword, shield, sir. That sword तर 10 वेळा लागलं मला. Please don't get up. We are not.
By the time sir comes, you want to stretch their legs.
Okay, okay. Oh, okay, okay.
Then sir is coming, something like that.
Okay. You remember the phase silence before the storm? This is the silence after the song. So they did a good job. I'm glad you all liked it. Now I request Prashant sir to come and say a few words. Yeah, please make way so that he can come forward.
Cordless. हे नाही बाबा ते wire.
Check. Hello.
Well, namaskar all of you. Before I proceed for the formal presentation of mine, informally, let me tell you what the children just now performed, enacted, displayed. With the cultural background that you get in our Puranas and our epics and our tradition, the innocent children will have potential of sagacity. Innocent children will have potential sagacity. And that is what the samskars do. So I appreciate the presentation that the children made. It was not only entertaining, but also awe-inspiring. So with those words of appreciation to children and those who organized these children, which is an Herculean task. I proceed to say what I should be now saying. First of all, namaskar to all of you. I welcome all of you, those who are physically plus totally present. I also welcome those people who are not physically present but totally present. They have virtual presence. So I welcome all of you and I express my gratitude and obeisance to Guruji, Amma, and those who were behind them. So obeisance to Guruji, Gurave Namaha, and obeisance to the entire lineage, the tradition of huge parampara, timeless parampara, all the gurus, guru of gurus, guru of the guru of the gurus, guru of the guru of the guru of the gurus, guru of the 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 gurus. Gurubhyo Namaha. So, with obeisance to them, I embark upon telling you a bit about this institute as we are in the golden jubilee year. This institute came in existence, as you know, that tomorrow is its day of inception. So it was formally inaugurated on that day, which is now 50 years back. And I am the only one now who knows the history of institute and the prehistoric period of institute. So you'll have last opportunity to be hearing from me. Hereafter, you will never be able to hear the account of history of the institute. Before the institute came up, Guruji was himself an institution. So before the institute came up, the land had to be procured. The land was procured somewhere in 1968, 1969. And Guruji bought this land to have his own house, because otherwise we were staying in a rented house. From 1942, Guruji stayed in a rented house, paying a rent of 16 rupees per month, 10 plus 6. 16 rupees per month was the rent. It was two-roomed house, and we stayed there until 1974. So Guruji occupied the house in 1942, and until 1974, we were in that house. So Guruji thought of procuring land. The tax implication was that we already had a built house. Guruji had already built a house in Bangalore, which is still existing. If you happen to go to Bangalore, do visit a location called Jayanagar. And in Jayanagar, that house is still intact. The monstrous developers have not got onto it. And you can identify the grill of the compound has asanas fabricated, and the present owner has not disturbed it. The compound is steel compound, and there are certain asanas fabricated. So in 1968, Guruji sold that house. It was built in 1966, which was grace of his epoch-making book, Light on Yoga. It showered a lot of money on him, and therefore he bought a land, he constructed a house, and the building is still there. So do not miss the opportunity to visit it, because we do not know when the developers swallow it. That's the culture of our time these days. So still, it has not been disposed of, and it is there. And that house was sold. When the house was sold, the tax implication is that the money should be invested in real estate to avoid capital gain tax. Otherwise, you have to pay capital gain tax if you don't invest money out of real estate into real estate. So Guruji was contemplating that he should invest that money. And then he thought of buying a land here. And the land was bought somewhere in 1968, 69. Myself and my father, that is Guruji, were joint owners of the land. And now Guruji did not have much money to build any house there, because much of the money that he had was spent to buy the land. So he thought of waiting for some time when sufficient money comes. He was thinking of only building a house and just a hall to teach yoga. Hall of the dimension of the house, maybe 1,000 square feet, 1,200 square feet, because he did not envisage the class dimension that we have today. 100 people at a time, 100 plus people at a time. So he thought not more than 10, 12, 15 people would be attending the classes. So he thought of having a hall at the top of the house. That was the plan. The institute was not envisaged, was not even imagined. Because Guruji never thought that he could be building an institute, because annually he was going abroad. From 1960 onwards until 19 76, 77, every year he was going abroad, about 3 months. So he did not have the plan to start an institute in Pune because out of 12 months, if 3.5 months he is going to be abroad, that is not justifiable. So that was not there. Idea was not there. So we bought the land. For your amazement, the land was bought at the rate of 6 rupees per square foot. 6 rupees per square foot. Now the land in Model Colony is around 50,000 plus per square foot. So the land was procured. 1968-69. The students had a thought, different thought. They said, why not build an institute there? So Guruji said, that's not possible in my financial resources. I cannot build something like yoga institute, and I'm not even dreaming, imagining, because all these years I have been teaching in a room and I will continue to teach in a room, maybe a little larger room, which will take 10, 15 people. In his wildest of dreams, he never thought that he would have a class which would contain 70, 80, 90, 100 plus students. So students of Guruji came with an idea that we should try to build an institute plus residence. So a committee was formed. My mother performed the puja called Bhumi Puja in early 1974. 74, late 74, Bhumi Puja was performed. But then the students took the initiative. They said, we will think of building an institution here. And for that, monies had to be collected. So a committee was formed, Ramamani Iyengar Memorial Yoga Institute Committee. And the funds were solicited, appeals were sent out, given to the students, well-wishers, friends, and Guruji students abroad, soliciting funds. So this committee was formed, which consisted of his senior students. And those were from Pune, G.C. Oswal, Father Anthony Lobo, Mr. R.C. Shah. Some of you might be knowing Ratan Shah, who was a teacher in his institute until he lived. He passed away a couple of years back. He was also a committee member. Then from Mumbai, Barzor Tarapurwala, M.T. Tijoriwala, M.T. Tijoriwala, his tijori would be always full. He was a big shot, but his initials were M.T. Madhusudan, if I don't mistake, Trikamchand Tijoriwala. Barzor Tarapuriwala, who was a very serious senior student of Guruji, philosophical bent of mind. Then Dhan Palkhiwala, was sister-in-law of a luminary in India, Nani Palkhiwala. Some of you might have heard his name, a Supreme Court lawyer. So his sister-in-law was Dhan Parkhiwala. She passed away a few months back at the age of 95, 94, 95. Sam Motiwala and Freni Motiwala, wife and husband. Father Anthony Lobo was the treasurer. And I take pleasure in saying that he is the only committee member living. All the others have passed away. So Anthony Lobo, Father Anthony Lobo was the treasurer, and he was very dedicated student of Guruji from early 60s, 62, 63, 1962, 1963. He was Guruji's student. And because of him, he arranged, there was an arrangement of encounter with Pope of Vatican. Many of you have read in Guruji's book that he met Pope Paul somewhere early 70s, 72, 73. And Father Lobo was responsible to arrange that encounter. And I remember in newspapers and news magazines articles appearing, Yoga Guru meets Jagat Guru. And well, we must pay all gratitudes to Father Anthony Lobo, who was a parish priest. He later became also principal of the school in the vicinity here called Vidya Bhavan. So those who are model colony residents, they know the school Vidya Bhavan. He was the principal of the school for some time. And because of he being principal, Guruji could conduct first ever intensive course for foreigners in Pune before the institute was built. This was conducted at Vidya Bhavan, and all thanks go to Father Anthony Lobo. He arranged it. So this intensive course was in the month of December of 1974. 1973. December 1973. So that was first ever intense course taken for South African contingent. They were all South Africans. So that was the first ever intensive taken by Guruji in Pune. Not here, but in Vidya Bhavan. Myself and Geeta were his assistants in that course. After the course was over, my mother took ill quite seriously. So the Bhumi Puja was performed. And after Bhumi Puja performed, in matter of few days, 3-4 days, we lost her. That is why the institute is named in memory of our beloved mother. So the monies were collected, and then Father Lobo was the treasurer. Myself and Ratan Shah were doing all clerical work, secretarial and clerical work, and anything that is run around for corporation, sub-registrar office, etc., Mamledar Kacheri, where land records are maintained. So myself and Shah were doing all that, going to corporation, going to city survey office, and do all those works, and also the bank accounts. He was, Father Lobo was treasurer, and we were clerks, depositing checks, depositing money, etc., getting the bank statements, etc. So myself and Shah were frequently going to bank. So it is important and apt that we pay tributes to the formation committee of the institute, and special to Father Anthony Lobo, who is still there, and he has sent out a message. He is little unwell. Otherwise, we expected him to be coming to Pune, but he is in Germany, Berlin, and he is not well. So graciously has sent the message on this occasion. So well, I felt fortunate to be having him, communicate to him, and get his communication. He was very dedicated student of Guruji. Had imbibed the true culture of Shishya and not just a student. Otherwise, Guruji has many students here and outside Pune, outside India. But Father Lobo was truly a Shishya in character. I do remember him from 1962-63. Ever since he came to Guruji, we know him. I know him rather. So the construction of the institute had to be commenced. So the architects designed the institute, and they suggested that this should be institute called Indian Institute of Yoga, because we have so many Indian institutes in India for various pursuits and academies. Indian Institute of Science, Indian Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Design, Indian Institute of Management. So he conceived the idea that it should be Indian Institute of Yoga. But because my mother passed away, we thought of doing it in her memory, and therefore it became Ramamani Iyengar Memorial Yoga Institute. So the institute was built by one of his students. He made an offer. He said, I'm going to build it at cost price. And he quoted rate, 35 rupees per square foot. Now, those who are in building business, they know what is the rate today. It was meager 35 rupees per square foot. And he said, if anybody is prepared to do for less than that, that person can do it. But nobody could go to the 35 rupees because that was no profit basis. That was his student called C.S. Sanghvi, who is no more. He was also about 10-year long-standing student of Guruji, very dedicated student of Guruji. So he took up the construction of the work. The Punites, for you, I can tell you, today you know that society called Modi Bagh near Masoba Gate. Now it's a new construction. It's a redevelopment, but prior to that, it was Modi Bagh, which was constructed by the same C.S. Sanghvi. He was a military engineer. His nephew was the architect called Kirit Vora, and his relative was structural engineer. I forget his first name. He was Shah. So Shah, Vora, Sanghvi was the team, and they constructed the building. It was promised that the building would be ready on the date of inauguration. However, it got little delayed, and they had to rush up and hurry up because we expected a finished building to host an inauguration. While the physical work, construction work did not end 2 days before inauguration day. So a lot of dust, lot of things to be cleaned and make the place hospitable to have about 200-300 people gather here for inauguration. So the last 2-3 days, we students of Guruji had to work hectically to carry out any conservation that is needed, any hospitality that is needed, any housekeeping that is needed to be housing an important program such as inauguration of the institute. So all the Guruji students, youngsters, I was about 25, 26 years of age. And those who were of the same age, close to that age, we all got together and hectically worked until late night to clear out the place, clear out the debris, clear out the whole plot around the building. So on the inaugural day, it was planned that myself and Geeta would be giving a yoga demonstration. So Guruji wanted we two to be presented on that day, and he said, you two will be giving a yoga demonstration. But the work that we put up, he saw the miserable condition, and he said, I am relieving you. I won't force you. And he said, I will take the place. I will give a demonstration. And we had a great sigh of relief. Thank God. Because our bodies had become like a log of wood, working day in, day out, right from early morning to late night, being here and doing all the cleaning work, washing work, etc., etc. We were damn tired, and we were all myself and Geeta became log of wood. And Guruji understood. He had compassion for us, and he said, okay, don't bother. And he gave a demonstration on that day. This was inaugurated by a saintly person of the town called J.P. Vaswani. Some of the Punites might have been knowing T.L. Vaswani, Dada Vaswani. So his nephew was J.P. Vaswani. And he was also a saintly person. And Guruji was teaching Dada Vaswani. Therefore, he had also met J.P. Vaswani. So J.P. Vaswani consented and he inaugurated the institute, that formal function. So we had a formal opening on that day with committee members all seated on the platform and chief guests on the platform. And of course, there was Guruji's demonstration, and also our participation was myself, I gave a violin concert. I used to play violin then. Then my sisters used to play sitar. So two of the sisters were in duet and they played sitar and I played violin. I had no difficulty in playing violin with such exhausted body. Doing asanas was next to impossible. And then we were in a panic mode. We had pressed the panic button, how to do, what to do, how to go about demonstration. But Guruji had compassion. He relieved us. But then we participated. I played violin. You might see the panographic photograph of the opening day at the foyer. So institute got opened. About 100 foreigners had arrived for inauguration. And at that time, the hall was smaller. Dimension-wise, almost now 30% has been added. So it was 70% of this dimension then. We had balconies outside, they were included. And that's why now it is of this dimension. So in 1975, this was not the hall. It was only up to columns. And about 2-3 feet beyond the columns, which could not be used for class, with the columns coming in between. So that was placed to store some props, etc. Behind the columns. So the last row of the class would be column line, not beyond. And then beyond was balconies. But Guruji would use balconies as a prop. And sometimes our bodies would be hanging from over the balcony walls. We would be doing back arch on the parapet wall of the balcony and then arch back. The commuters on the road wondered, usually they say in India, the clothes are kept for drying on the balconies, but here people were kept for drying on the balconies. So that was amusement for those who were bypassers on the road. So we were including balcony for our Trikodasans, Ardhachandrasans, etc. because Guruji was creative in that respect, using any space available as a prop. So balconies were used, but then there is a limitation because there was balcony number 1, number 2, number 3, that's all. There was no balcony here, there was no balcony there. Only 3 panels had balconies and the first and last had no balcony. So inaugural course commenced immediately on the following day. The intense course was more intense to myself and Geeta and Guruji than to students. Intense in the sense, labor behind it, labor for it, labor in it. because the connotation is a different connotation for intense course. It is compact course, compressed course, 3 days, 5 days, 8 days, 10 days. But with respect to intensity of physical investment, it was intense for Guruji, who conducted myself, Geeta, Shah, and Panduranga Rao. Panduranga Rao was the secretary, come manager, come everything of the institute until few years back. So some of you, the veterans, know Panduranga Rao. So we were assisting Guruji in that course. Now there are 100 people. Guruji could not accommodate 100 people here. So he divided into 2 batches. The first batch commenced at 7, 7 to 10, no break. Next batch, 10 to 1. So Guruji had 2 continuous batches of 3 hours, 7 to 10, 10 to 1. And there was no break. Between 7 to 1, myself, Geeta, Shah, Pandu, Guruji did not even stir out of the door for any reason. Of course, we could put up because we were youngsters. So 6 hours at a stretch, without any natural call, we could put up. Guruji also in prime age, he was about 58, less than 60 when institute was inaugurated. His 58 years means our age of 28 years. So I was 26, Guruji, Geeta was 20, 28, 27. Guruji was virtually 25. So our father was younger than us. That is why he is pioneer of younger yoga. So he was youngest of the lot here. He could put up easily, he had no problem. But between 7 to 1, not even a sip of water. Like today's people, you carry a water bottle. We did not have the culture of carrying water bottles. So right from 7 to 1, no sip of water. And we were all standing committee members. For entire 6 hours, we had to stand, no scope to sit. No chance, no scope to sit, even for a moment. Continuous classes. So we would be standing at the back of the hall when Guruji would be performing, showing, displaying, having a model or he himself. Then we would walk closer. And when he would say, come on, all of you, go back to your place, we would go back behind the columns and stand there. So 7 to 1, we were standing committee members. That is standing, 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 not squatting. And that ended at 1 o'clock. So class was divided into 50% members, 50 members for first batch, 50 members for second batch. So that experience of being in that intensive course for 6 hours, we were getting nightmares for many days. Our legs would become log of wood. But thankfully we were young. and we were practicing yoga. Therefore, it was not a problem. Now, if I have to stand for 6 hours, it's a penance. Or standing 6 years. Now, if you tell me to stand 6 hours, it would be equal to 6 years, not hours. But anyway, we put up with it. At 1 o'clock, we would go and take our meals. We had, and there was no evening class, only morning sessions, and evening it was practice session. And all those participants would come at about 4 o'clock, and Guruji had told them that they should only practice inversions and not other asanas, only inversions. So Guruji was in inversions. Myself and Geeta had a respite. After 6 hours standing on the feet, we could stand on the head. So that was the break. We said, thank God. So we would do about 75 minutes of Shirshasana, Sarvangasana. Perhaps many of you won't imagine now. But that was Guruji's teachings. Guruji would every day invariably would be in Shirshasana Sarvangasana for 60 plus minutes. Sometimes 60, 70, as the time permitted, but never less than 60. Invariably, Shirshasana Sarvangasana was a wow to Guruji, and we inculcated that, and we never missed Shirshasana Sarvangasana on any day, not nominal 10 minutes and 10 minutes, but we would require 1 hour plus for our Shirshasana and Sarvangasana. So that was a respite, and we would recover there. And after Shirshasana Sarvangasana, we would sit in Virasana for a long time, either here or back home. So the legs were again fresh for next day, for us to become again a horse. Horses don't sit. Horses always stand. So we had to take horse avatar every morning, 7 to 1. And of course, our gray matter had a lot of education during those intensive courses, because we had never seen Guruji teaching such intensive course. Usually we were attending his classes, but intensive course was first time experience, and we learned a lot how to conduct an intensive course, what is the communication, what is the language, what is the vocabulary, what is the diction, to be teaching 50 people at a time. Because until that time, myself and Geeta were only taking private tuitions. So we could seal our mouth and take a class. Those days, private tuition means making everyone every pose, handling everyone for Trikonasana, Parshakonasana, Shirshasana cycle. We would stand behind them and make variations. So the teachers were more a prop for student, and our bodies, our limbs were props. And that's what we learned from Guruji. Whereas present time teachers have no idea. It's a totally different way of teaching, instruction. What we would be making every asana with our own limbs. For instance, Setuvan, you have a bench and you go on the bench. For the Setuvan, we would raise our knee and make the person land his tailbone. Parsha Sarvangasana, sacrum, and legs back. So we were ourselves a prop. That was the Iyengar system then. Anyway, I'm not going to speak about Iyengar system. So intense course was over. Let me not forget. When the intense course commenced at 7 in the morning, ended at 1 o'clock noon, afternoon, before 7 o'clock, Guruji had another mission. What was that? With the twilight, before the sun came up, because that was the month of January and we have late sunrise, 7:15, 7 o'clock, 7:15, 7:20. That's the sunrise time in January. So Guruji would be on the terrace of the house at 6:45 for shooting his practice. And you all can see that video, which is called 1975 practice. So there is one is 1937 practice, the other one 1975 practice. That 1975 practice was before the class. And from the terrace, he would come here to start the class exactly at 7. 20 minutes shooting every day, which ended by 5 minutes, 2-3 minutes before 7 to start the class at 7. Now understand Guruji's capacity. So once try to have a look at 1975 practice, the entire range of asanas were performed. I would get up at 4 o'clock and finish my asana practice to go on the terrace at 6:45. So I got up at 4 o'clock and did my practice. Unlike the present culture, present generation culture, if they conduct intensive class, they don't practice because 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. But I did my practice getting up at 4 o'clock and then come to the class at 7. So that's how the 3-week course got over. It was a course for 3 weeks. And then we had a break. We did not start our classes. We decided to start the classes on 15th of March because we had to procure certain things here. And we also required a break after that hectic work of conservation of the entire plot, the hall, etc. So we are already tired, and then the course to follow. So Guruji said we will start the class on 15th of March, the local classes. And our original local classes started on 15th of March. I was taking private tuitions, Geeta was taking private tuitions, Guruji had his private tuitions, Guruji had one general class on Wednesdays. So all that was given a break. And the institute got launched for local students, 15th of March 1975. Initially, we did not have more than 15-20 students in a class. Now, today's teachers are reluctant to conduct a class. If you give them 15 students in the hall and tell them to conduct a class, they'll be reluctant. They want jam-packed hall because they are used to jam-packed hall and conduct a class. Whereas we conducted class for 10-15 people, and you may not believe There was a medical class on Tuesdays. We had 2 or 3 students and the teachers outnumbered students. Guruji, myself, Geeta, Shah, Pandu, 5 teachers and sometimes 3 students. That was the time and that was the condition then. Yet we had no issues with it. Actually, we took advantage of learning certain things with fewer people to handle in remedial classes. So initially we had a remedial class on Tuesday at 4:30 and Wednesday at 6 p.m. These are only 2 remedial classes per week. And slowly the numbers started increasing. And slowly, gradually, number picked up. But that was not until about 1980, 82. Then we had almost all full classes. Until that time, rarefied. Imagine 2, 3 people in the hall for remedial class and about 15 people for general class. So we had a different training that time. So before the general classes for me and Geeta, fortunately, both of us had general class engagement in 1972 on the outskirts of Pune. We went out to a suburb called Pimpri Chinchwad area, and we had classes there starting from Dasra 1972, October 1972. So myself and Geeta had got inducted to general class conducting. And I took advantage of that general class because all of them were Maharashtrians, Marathi speaking people. So I ventured to conduct a class in Marathi. Now there is a sanction on us, on myself, to be conducting a class in Marathi. But in Pimpri Chinchwad area, they were all Maharashtrian, Marathi speaking people. So I ventured to conduct the classes in Marathi. And I learned something out of it. Because my thought system is not in English. My thought system works in Marathi. So I had an advantage to conduct a class in Marathi because of the language of my mind. English is not my language of the mind. I don't think in English. I only speak in English. But I took advantage of that. And the students had a marvelous time. Imagine pranayam class completely in Marathi. Asan class completely in Marathi. Because that was the mind, that was the language of my mind, my thought. We have a concept called something called mother tongue. What is really the mother tongue? Our dreams would be in Marathi. Our thoughts would be in Marathi. Our education was in Marathi. So imposing English on us was an atrocity on us. It was atrocious. We had to fight. So I took advantage and learned teaching in Marathi. And that helped me to improve my English. Because I was trying to use the communication based on Marathi infrastructure and then in English language. Therefore, I have out of box English language, as most of you have identified, those who have done my classes. My English is not contemporary English, current English, and it's altogether different English. It is because of I want to pour my thought into my teachings, which I do in English. So that was an advantage. Then when the classes started here, I would sometimes cite an opportunity that all are Marathians, Marathi speaking people. I did conduct the class in Marathi even here. Only when there is no non-Marathi person, I did take advantage of it. And because I was teaching English, one of my students came and remarked back at me. He said, तुम्ही जे शिकवता ते कसं आहे? पसायदान इंग्रजीत देण्यासारखं आहे. पसायदान सूट, पॅन्ट, कोट, टाय बांधून पसायदान देण्यासारखं आहे. The subject matter of yoga is such that English is an insufficient language. It cannot have the essence. So some of the Marathian students, they came and told me, when I teach in English, I was teaching in English, what is this? You are giving Poseidon in English, and that too as if you are putting on the dress of suit and coat and tie. पु ल देशपांडेचा एक विनोद आहे. तुमच्या घरी पूजेला येणारा भटजी पॅन्ट कोट हॅट टाय बांधून आला आणि दर्भांच्या ठिकाणी स्ट्रॉ घेऊन आला तर कसं वाटेल? So a priest, we expect him to be in particular outfit. So somebody told me, you are teaching a subject like yoga, and why are you taking recourse to this language? But then it was forced upon us. Anyway, Marathi taught me English. And I developed English, which is Marathized. I speak Marathified English and Sanskritized English. Certain words I take from Sanskrit, and therefore I teach in English as well. Anyway, the Well Institute was formed. The classes were organized, daily classes. I would take morning classes. Geeta opted for evening classes because she had to manage the house also, cooking, etc. And she said, I will take English evening classes, you take morning classes. She only took Wednesday morning 9 o'clock class and Saturday morning 9 o'clock class. 7 o'clock she said, I can't manage, you do it. So I took 7 o'clock classes and she took 9 o'clock class for ladies and evening classes at 6. So myself and Geeta started the classes. Shah was also inducted to take once a week class. Shah was senior student. He started learning from Guruji in 1966-67. And therefore he also joined the institute. He was one of the first teachers with myself and Geeta. So we gave a class to him. Shah conducted a class as well. So the classes became Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. That was sufficient. Now we have 3-4 classes in the morning, 3-4 classes in the evening, and not sufficient. The major landmark was in 1989, complete turnaround in the running of the institute. Because I met with an accident, so I was out of action for nearly 18 months. I was out of action for 1.5 years. So there had to be turnaround in conducting of the institute. So teachers were turned trained out. Teachers were taken as assistants. Gita took a lot of pain to turn out teachers to be conducting the classes because I was not available for 18 months. And that was a major turnaround in the class, in the institute. Number of teachers increased, number of classes increased gradually. The second floor was not used until 1989, except for pranayam class once in a week. So that hall was not used at all from 75 to 89, except for one Thursday evening class, pranayam class. But then classes were increased, and that also became a place for regular classes, morning, evening. That was in 1989. So after 1989, Geeta took the job of turning out teachers, trainee teachers. She took a lot of pain, and that's how it has come to present form. That you have students here, you have students there. So I told you about inauguration of the institute. Our library was inaugurated little later because we had rainwater problem. It was basement, water collected in monsoon, 3 feet water, we had to pump it out. So it was not opened on inauguration day. We had to do a lot of repair work, a lot of leakage problems were there. Were settled not until 1980, 6 years it took. And the library was opened by a distinguished family member, my nephew, Kaushik. Where is Kaushik? Please stand up. Please look him, he's behind the camera. The way the classes are conducted, the mode of conducting a class. Has radically changed because new generation. In our time, we never thought that by learning yoga, we should be teaching yoga. We thought lifelong we'll be students of yoga. Now today's generation is not that way. Nobody comes here to be student for a lifetime. I was a teacher by default. I did not opt for teaching. Because I was son of B.K. Sayengar, by default, I started teaching. And it never occurred to our mind that we should be teaching. But present generation is totally different. Because yoga can be easily becoming a profession. In our time, when we had in such a big place 3 students, is it lucrative to be running a institute, such a hall, and 3 students coming in, 4 students coming in, 2 students coming in? So it was not meant to be a profession. But slowly it has become that. So today we are where we are. So I try to just recall the journey of those 50 years. I cannot be justifying, I cannot be going on fast forward track to cover entire 50 years. But I try to give some account of it. The youngsters of our time, when I was young, I had to prepare youngsters of my age. Say I was 26 years of age when I stepped in here to conduct classes. Now today those who are 26 years are radically different. Like when we were babies, how were we? Now today's babies soon start handling tablet, soon starts handling a smartphone. By the age 3 and 4, they have smartphone in the hand. They go to YouTube. They go to the channels. They can handle tablets and smartphones. But in our generation, what were we when we were 4 and 5? Similarly, at every age, the generation has changed. And I have watched in my 55 years of teaching, so about at least 2 generations I've covered. And I have seen the 2 generations, people of every age, even old people. Today's grandmothers, they don't want to look that they are grandmothers. They put on skirts. Our time grandmothers, you could not imagine that they are wearing skirts or pants, trousers, jeans. But today's grandmothers are using it. Well, I don't complain, I enjoy. Anyway, time is up. I have overshot. Thanks for your patience. Namaskar. Namaskar, all of you. So I relieve you now. Many of you were waiting for this to happen, but I dragged it. So sorry for those.
Sir, book release hai. Book release hai. There are two books being released today. Which one have you given him? One is Yoga Rahasya, and the other one is Know Your Institute. The other one is Know Your Institute. So let's see which one he opens, then I'll tell you more. Okay. Know Your Institute. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's not, and we made a change because 25 years ago we had
At last, time to know your institute after 50 years.
So previously it was Know Your Institute. This issue is Know Our Institute. Okay. Yoga Ya Rahasya.
Golden Jubilee.
Yeah.
Yoga Rahasya. Makar Sankranti color.
Okay, there are a few announcements. One is that you remember after school when you had an annual day, next day was a holiday? Well, we are doing the same thing here today. Tomorrow, Monday, there will be no classes. People have been working very hard for the last 2 days and they really need to take a break. Monday. Oh, 1 year. Okay. So on Monday, there will be no class. Okay. But online classes will be there. And the other announcement is that when you leave now, remember how we used to leave the yoga class previously before the renovations? Leave that way because there is sale of books and t-shirts. Okay. After that, cross the road and there are refreshments there. So please. I took that. Oh.
So tomorrow, the entire lunch is going to be across the road. We'll tell you where it is. Today's refreshments are right here. So as you go out, please go from the old way, if you remember, before the renovation happened. So you're going to get out from here and walk the old way and you'll get the refreshment.
Yeah, so the books and refreshments. Yes, good show. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow morning.